Yo, what's up, guys? I just got done watching the Bulls and Heat game. In today's video, I'm going to be recapping that game, talking about the Bulls season being over, also talking about some more topics and updates and rumors later in today's video. But before I jump into today's video, make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. Also, leave a quick like below today's video. It takes a second and it helps me out a lot. And leave some comments and questions below today's video, obviously about yesterday's tough loss to the Heat, this whole Bulls season, and what you guys want them to do in this upcoming off season. But nonetheless, let's just talk about this Bulls Heat game real quick. And let me just say, wow, I really thought the Bulls had this game. The Bulls were up 81-75 with about 7 minutes to go. The Miami Heat then finished the game on a 27-10 run. The Bulls' last field goal was a Kobe White 3 with about 4 minutes left. And those few minutes in that game was just a perfect and crazy way to end this season. So up and down, so bipolar, not expected or maybe expected, who knows at this point. It was still nice to see that the Bulls did play some, I'd say, high level basketball, and I'd say in the play-in tournament it just wasn't enough. Until next year, I definitely feel like a lot of change is needed and hopefully coming in this upcoming off season. But to keep it real, I mean, what more can I say? This was an ugly game for the most part. I thought the Bulls really had it with about 7 minutes remaining. I thought we could pull it out, but I guess not. The Bulls offense just completely folded on us like usual. I still can't believe that this Bulls team finished this NBA season with a top 5 NBA rating in defense. And with the Chicago Bulls having 3 offensive-minded stars, the Bulls offense was rated, I believe it was 24th, which is just a crazy stat. DeMar DeRozan had a pretty solid game. Vooch only had 12 and 9. Zach LaVine only had 15, and he struggled. Other than, I'd say, DeMar and Caruso and Kobe White, really nobody played well. This was an ugly game. The Miami Heat won this game in the fourth quarter. There's not much more to say. The end of that game was just the perfect and just a fitting end to a disappointing Bulls season, in the respect that the Bulls made no field goals in the last 4 minutes of a huge elimination game for a team that finished 24th in offensive rating and 27th in clutch win percentage, which is just very unacceptable for a team with this many NBA vets and offensive-minded stars. There's lots of work to do in this upcoming offseason. Definitely leave some comments and questions below today's video about this whole Bulls season. Obviously, yesterday's tough loss versus the Miami Heat, and what you guys want the Bulls to do in this upcoming offseason. And also, before this game, going into the game, there was some reports and articles that came out that the Bulls players and front office were really confident in this group, and they just felt like they were the better team than the Miami Heat. Obviously, that didn't end well. And post-game, Zach LaVine did say, "It hurts. I just didn't shoot the ball well. A lot of good shots that normally go in. It sucks knowing that we were so close. If I make a couple of those, it could be the tipping point, so it hurts a lot." And that's the only quote that came out. But post-game, there was a lot of articles and tweets saying that the Bulls were really frustrated and just upset. And I understand, but at the end of the day, this has been going on all season long. This loss doesn't surprise me. I'm just hoping that a bunch of changes and moves are coming in this upcoming offseason. This whole NBA season was obviously so up and down, so bipolar for this Bulls team. It was definitely one of the most disappointing Bulls seasons in a long time in my eyes. I don't really know what the future does hold for the Chicago Bulls. They can go a lot of ways from right now, but I do know that they cannot return with this team next season. Arturas bet on this team to run it back, and that failed and blew up in his face. Even though they did finish the season better with Pat Bev, they still need to make a lot of changes and trades in this upcoming offseason. And obviously, for the past few weeks now, I've talked about many offseason moves, trades, and just predictions. And Bulls insider Will Perdue did talk post-game versus the Miami Heat about his offseason checklist for the Bulls. Leave some comments and questions below today's video what you guys want and expect the Bulls to do in this upcoming offseason. Now, Will Perdue kept it short and simple. In this upcoming offseason, he said that the Bulls need to add a true point guard, and I do agree 100%. I love Caruso, I love Pat Bev, but let's be real, the Bulls need a true attacking point guard that can get downhill. Even since Pat Bev, this Bulls team did play better, but I don't believe he's the answer. I wouldn't mind re-signing Pat Bev to come off the bench to just bring some leadership and energy. And the next topic on Will Perdue's offseason checklist was for the Chicago Bulls to add three-point shooting, and I couldn't agree more. I mean, you just can't win nowadays not shooting threes. For this whole whole NBA season, the Bulls were pretty much last in field goal makes and attempts, and you just can't win nowadays. Obviously, with DeMar DeRozan, this offense is going to be mainly surrounded the mid-range jump shot, and I love DeMar. He's going to be a Hall of Famer one day, but you just can't win nowadays like that, especially in the NBA playoffs. And I know last summer the Bulls front office did say they planned to add shooting, and obviously they didn't do that, so hopefully I do expect them to say that again in the upcoming weeks when they do their end of season interviews. But hopefully in this upcoming offseason, this Bulls front office can add a bunch of 3-and-D wings around Zach LaVine, because I feel like a lineup with Zach LaVine and a bunch of 3-and-D wings could be really deadly. And the final topic in today's video is about this article that came out just yesterday from Bleacher Report, and the article was titled "Predicting Landing Spots for the Chicago Bulls Upcoming Free Agents in this Summer." And I'm mainly going to be talking about Patrick Beverley. Now, like I did say earlier in today's video, since the whole Pat Bev situation, this Bulls team has looked like a completely different team. They've played much better basketball. Even their net rating has been much better. But let's be real, even with the Pat Bev addition, this Bulls team still has a lot of problems. They still choke some leads just like they did yesterday versus the Miami Heat game. And don't get me wrong, I love Pat Bev. He's been a huge pickup, obviously, from Chicago. But let's not forget, this man's 34 years old, turning 35. And with the whole Lonzo Ball situation, it sure doesn't seem like he's playing basketball or coming back anytime soon. In my eyes, the Bulls need a big point guard upgrade, maybe a big trade. I don't know who the answer is or any names, but it's obviously going to be a tough situation with the Bulls having limited salary cap in this upcoming offseason, and I'd say limited trade assets also. I like Pat Bev, but his age is definitely a concern. Obviously, going forward and in this upcoming offseason, we'll see his price range and his price tag. I wouldn't mind bringing him back coming off the bench, just bringing veteran leadership and energy off the Bulls bench for a good contract, but Bleacher Report did predict Pat Bev to leave and walk in this upcoming offseason, and they do predict him to sign with the Miami Heat. I plan to make a future video really deep diving into this whole point guard situation and the Bulls needing to upgrade that situation, but to keep it short and simple, I wouldn't mind re-signing Pat Bev and especially Coby White. I feel like the Bulls have to bring him back, especially with how he has played and ended the season for the Chicago Bulls, and also just his overall growth, especially on his defensive side of the basketball and his handling for this whole season. The Bulls would be silly to let him walk in this upcoming offseason. I also wouldn't mind if the Bulls did let Coby White start at point guard next season and try that out again. I know they've already tried that a few times, but he's definitely improved a lot, and I could see a backcourt of Coby and Zach being deadly. Definitely leave some comments and questions below today's video about all the topics, news, rumors, and updates I talked about, and just obviously yesterday's loss to the Heat and just this whole Bulls season as a whole. Thank you guys for all the love on the channel in the past few videos. I really do appreciate it. Thank you guys for watching today's video. Have a good one.